back to Your Full Crew. I'm Dawn Zoldi, and we are here at Spacepower 2024 in beautiful Orlando, Florida. And I have with me here a person from the Space Force Association running this event.
I'm not running the event, but
You're helping to run it. I mean, this is
helping.
SFA's Spacepower.
Yep.
So first of all, introduce yourself.
I'm Rhonda Shea. I'm the general manager for the Space Force Association. So I get to put out the fires, but I'm not the one that coordinated our event. We have wonderful volunteers and staff that have put this together.
She's so nice. She's really running it behind the scenes. So tell everybody a little bit about this event. This is your second year.
Right.
Okay, and it's exponentially grown just in the past year.
Right. This is our second year. We'll be doing it again next year. Of course, it plans to be an annual event. It'll be in Orlando next year in December. We haven't announced the exact location yet, but we'll be coming up. What we did last year was our inaugural year in 2023, and we went from about 1,500 attendees to about 2,600 this year. We went from about 20 booths to a little over 75 booths. So it's grown tremendously. We have over 1,000 Guardians. This is the largest gathering of Guardians in one place in the world.
The largest gathering of Guardians in the galaxy,
in
right?
the galaxy,
For real.
that's right.
Yes, it's perfect because, I think Universal Studios has such a ride. But this is a great place to be if you're in the space industry and you want to meet with the defense clients. I mean, these conversations are happening.
Yeah. It's a great place to network. We have people from all large industry, medium-sized industries, new startup companies. There's folks here from DoD. There's folks from STARCOM and all of the powers that be from the Space Force and some Air Force folks. And it's a great place to just get to know people. If you have a business that you do business with these folks, great place to just sit down and relax and get to know them better. And a great place to meet new people that hopefully would become your corporate friends.
Absolutely. And speaking of becoming friends, how do people learn more about the Space Force Association and how can they get involved?
The Space Force Association, we have a website, and it's USSF, as in Frank, .org. And you can find out all about us on there. You can check out the event. You can check out becoming a corporate member or an individual member. And our individual memberships start at $35. So they're very affordable for the average person because we want everybody to be, space impacts all of us. It doesn't just impact the people in this room, but more importantly, it impacts the millions and millions of people whose everyday lives depend on it. And so if you're one of those people that just love to learn about new technology, you can join us and be at this event too.
And by the way, at $35 you can buy also those mouse ears because I was just at Disney World and that's what they're going for. So great price, great organization, important cause.
Right, and one more thing, we do have corporate memberships that start for the small new launch pad businesses that are just launching their company all the way up to some of the big giants in the industry. And so if you're interested, you can just hop on that website, learn out about us, or you can reach out and give us a call. There's lots of links to our emails and things like that.
All right, very good. 2.5 days of activities. By the way, 5th anniversary of the United States Space Force. Big birthday gala happening here as well. So thank you for everything you do.
Well, thank you,
And
Dawn.
speaking of launch pads, we have some of these companies here. Do you want to introduce the next one, maybe?
Let me grab Lee Rosen.
Okay, Lee Rosen, and we're going to swap out the mic.
He's with Think Orbital and really doing some incredible things. So I'm going to pass it off to you.
All right, and doing the mic swap, and here comes Lee.
Great. Hi, we also have our Vice President.
Squeezing in. All right,
Can we do it? Can we do two?
Yeah,
Is that okay?
Look, we are doing it. Look, we fit. Move over more.
Justin
You're kind of off the screen. I'm not good
Okay.
at this, but in. I'm over here. You go over there.
Okay.
All right, perfect.
There
Yay, all
it
three of
is.
us. All right, so Think Orbital.
Yes.
Tell me, what is Think Orbital?
So Think Orbital is eliminating the constraints of size of things in outer space, right?
Okay.
So getting to outer space is hard. SpaceX is kind of taking care of that along with some others. The ability to build anything in outer space has really never been done. We've been doing it the same way we've been doing it for the last 60 plus years. We build stuff on the ground, we launch it into outer space, we cram it inside a rocket. So we're trying to change that by actually building large infrastructure in situ. Along the way, we're also doing some fun space domain awareness and some counter space type of activities as well.
Wow, counter space. So a lot of my followers are in the drone world. They know about counter UAS, counter space. you guys are doing that too.
I heard space is a warfighting
It is.
medium there,
It's a
Colonel
war-
Retired Chandler. What do you know about that?
There you go. Tell us about this. Tell us about some of the threats, because I missed the briefing. So tell everybody what we're looking at out there.
Well, with what Russia's been doing recently and putting some things in orbit that could be a threat to us and violating a lot of international treaties, we really lack the ability to characterize and determine, did they really put something up there that they shouldn't have?
Right.
And what is it?
Right.
You know, in the Cuban Missile Crisis, we had U-2 reconnaissance aircraft taking pictures of the offensive weapons that the Soviets put in Cuba. They were a threat to the United States.
Yes.
Right now in space, we can't figure that out. If something's inside of a spacecraft and it, could do us harm,
Yeah.
we can't tell that. And so we're developing an X-ray at distance capability that we can look inside of a satellite from 10 kilometers away and figure out what exactly is in there.
Wow.
And it's what we call the missing piece of space domain awareness.
Okay, so space domain awareness, counter space, and in situ building of things for space.
Yes.
Right, large infrastructure
Large
in space.
infrastructure.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, you've got just
All
a
right, we're
couple
busy.
things
We're
going
busy.
on.
There's a lot going on.
And so how can people learn more about Think Orbital?
Well, they can look at our website at thinkorbital.com. They can reach out to me, Lee, at thinkorbital.com, and we'd always welcome folks that are interested in what we're doing.
All
And
right.
we've got a launch coming up on the 20th.
The 20th of December.
Yes.
Okay.
Next week.
Right
a
before the
pre-Christmas
holidays.
launch.
Yes,
And
exactly.
so what is this launch going to be?
So we're going to be demonstrating our electron beam technology for welding, cutting, and X-ray inspection. Part of our Think Toolkit.
Electron beam. I mean, this
Sounds like it's from the
like-
future.
It does.
Yeah, but it's been around since the 1960s.
Okay.
We used it when I was at SpaceX to weld the thrust chambers of the engines together.
Okay.
Its biggest drawback terrestrially is it has to be done in a vacuum. And
Oh, yeah. That
do you know
would be
where
hard.
there's a vacuum?
Black holes. I heard there are
100
some on
kilometers from everywhere, outer space.
Yeah,
there's a
I
big
do-
vacuum. So
yeah,
this is
that I-
the ideal technology to build things in outer space.
Okay, very cool. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so
Thank you
much,
so much.
guys. Really cool to
appreciate
meet
it.
you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, we will keep an eye open for this launch.
All right,
and
right
learn
on.
more about it.
Thank you.
All right, thanks so much. All right, we've got Ben here, and
Hi.
Ben,
How you doing?
tell everybody who you are and where you work.
My name is Ben Chubane, and I'm the president of Phoenix TS. We've been a DoD contractor since 2004, so 20 years. And what we do is we do training. We do training in cybersecurity, in IT, and we've evolved, of course, with the modern needs of the warfighter, including Guardians. So we provide, environments where Guardians can learn about cybersecurity, with capture the flag exercises and cyber ranges, all kinds of labs and experiential learning. And we're just so excited to be involved with Space Force. We're involved with the other forces and now Space Force. It's really exciting.
Well, obviously training is always key, and I love that you do that for the forces. What about people out there that want to get involved as part of the workforce that aren't part of the Space Force, like on the commercial side? Do you do training there as well?
Oh yeah. We provide training. B2G is big, but also government contractors are part of that. And then anyone in the private sector can also attend our public training or ask for private classes or get access to all of our training solutions, right? And we're starting to actually get into cleared training now, and so all kinds of different levels of training that we do. I'm really excited about Space Force and their focus on workforce development. What I learned here at the conference
Yeah,
is,
that's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
What's one of the biggest things you learned here?
It's their focus on not just technical learning, but also critical thinking, leadership, better decision making, smarter decision making, out of the box thinking, which is really what they need to handle and deal with and solve the challenges / opportunities that these guys are facing. It's an amazing place.
It is. Well, as they say, no plan survives first contact with the enemy. So those critical thinking skills and the ability to, think on the fly is really important. And no pun intended, because obviously they're
That's what
flying
I'm thinking of,
things, literally.
Think in the vacuum, right?
Yeah, thinking in a vacuum. All right,
Yeah,
lots of puns here, everybody. Bear with us. But anyway, very cool. So how do people learn more about what you're doing?
Yeah, so our website is Phoenix TS, so Phoenix like the city, and then technology solutions, so phoenixts.com. And my email is ben@phoenixts.com. Feel free to reach out.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, all right. Next up, we've got Alex Hall. Alex is...
Hi everybody, I'm Alec Hall from Alliance Cyber. I'm going to step back a little bit because
All right, no,
I'm
he's
towering
tall,
over
and I'm,
the
yeah,
screen
and I'm
here.
not.
Yeah.
So we just heard a little bit about cyber training.
We
You
did.
know, you're in the cyberspace. Explain why that's so important in the space domain.
Absolutely. So I love my space brothers and sisters. I'm Air Force by trade, and I grew up in comm cyber the entire time. And I like to jest a little bit that all their beautiful satellites are nothing but flying routers. And so in that regard, communications, both in domain and terrestrially, are critically important to securing our government information, to providing intelligence, providing updates to activities in the cyberspace domain. So for me, cyber is a passion, and that's what we do at Alliance Cyber. So
You know, cyber's everywhere. We talk about how space impacts everything, but cyber is like in everything,
absolutely.
every domain. And so as you're, have you been here, were you here last year as well?
I was here last year.
So tell me a little bit, how do you feel this event has evolved, in particular with regards to the cyber aspect of it?
Yeah, so first of all, kudos to the SFA for another successful year putting on this conference. I will say from the vendor perspective, we have a booth for the second year in a row, and there is easily double the amount of vendors from last year to this year. So it's fantastic to see the support of so many businesses in and around the space industry. From the cyber perspective, every single one of us has an investment as both business owners and federal contractors to defend our corporate intelligence, defend the country's controlled and classified information. So with cyber on the minds of every single entity and agency here, I think it's critically important that we highlight the capabilities of services like the Space Force, who have an emphasis on space, cyber, and intelligence to make sure that the nation can prosecute its activities.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's coming up for you in terms of 2025? That's on the horizon. And how can people reach you and learn more?
Right, so Alliance Cyber, we provide cybersecurity compliance as a service. So many of our industry partners have requirements in their federal contracts or just in their particular industry sets to secure their information and operate secure network domains. And that's where Alliance Cyber can assist. If you're an excellent entity at your particular piece of business and IT is not that, we can be that for you, right? We're your ally, thus Alliance Cyber, in that space to help make you successful in your business.
And that's in any domain. Space is one of many.
One of many.
Because we have a lot of air taxi and drone folks out there, and electric vehicles. Everything is cyber.
Everything is cyber.
Yeah, I know. You love that, right?
I do.
You're like job security for me. So, all right, very cool.
Yeah,
and
you can reach us at
how
alliancecyber.com or by email via contact us at alliancecyber.com.
All right, perfect. Well,
All
thank
right.
you so much.
Thanks.
Keeping us cyber secure. All right, next up, Jesse is coming down. Jesse Lozano. Jesse, tell everybody where you're from.
Hey, I'm Jesse Lozano. I'm the CEO at Intellectable. I'm based in Austin,
Austin, Texas.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Okay.
And at Intellectable, we automate proposal writing process.
Okay. Oh, so I heard a lot about the challenges in going through the procurement process with the government, getting those government contracts. So that's what you do. You help people do that?
Yeah, so with Intellectable, you can create a digital twin of your proposal writing process. It's not a black box AI that you've got no control over. It's, let me step back here.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
frame.
just like always trying to get sent.
It's something that literally a digital twin of the way that you approach proposals, and that's ripping the documents, taking out information from proposals that you require, using your company information to run through workflows that you've designed, applying your information in the way that you want to. It's an AI that you completely control yourself.
Okay, well that's important. So it's not. I don't want to use OpenAI, that's a company, but it's a closed AI that you input the company's information into?
Yeah, so, well, it's an open AI for our users. We're not a ChatGPT front. Actually, my previous business, I raised $30 million for an ed tech company and built it out quite large. I did that through writing and winning government contracts to deploy
Got all this
computer
guy,
science.
I just raised 30 million. And if you noticed 2 guys ago, it was like, oh yeah, when I worked at SpaceX, just like,
Yeah.
these are our guests, everybody. All right, keep going.
but one of those, that process, even when you get, into a large amount of employees, proposal writers are the most important piece of your team. They're out there winning revenue and winning work.
Yeah.
Anything that you can do to automate that process, automate the data extraction and the data application so that the human can do the last, the strategic thinking piece.
Right.
That's a total winner, and it's been great to be at this expo because everybody here writes proposals.
Yeah, everybody does. So, were you here last year?
No, I wasn't, but we've got Eric McManus is at Intellectable, and he's the head of Space Force Association Texas.
Okay, very good, very good.
Yeah.
So you're a newbie to this like I am. As you're walking around and talking to people, what is jumping out at you as being maybe one of the most interesting things you're seeing or learning?
Yeah, I think actually it's, the amount of new small business that's here at the conference is really encouraging. I think there's a lot of funding for space, and that's trickling through to, actual, real startups on the ground here at Spacepower Conference. So, for me, that's the most interesting. Obviously, there's the great big players here with, beyond interesting technology. But,
Yes.
But yeah, I like the small business.
Well, excellent. So how can people learn more about what you do and where can they find you?
So you can go to intellectable.com. That's just intellectible.com. You can book a demo with us on there, and we've got a bunch of happy customer quotes on there, and good detail on the platform and how it works.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This guy
All right.
knows obviously what he's talking
Thank
about.
you.
He already raised $30 million for himself. All right, thank you so much. All right, come on down. We've got Nate McBee, and Nate, tell them where you're from.
Sure. My name is Nate McBee. I'm Vice President of our Engineering and Commercial Products Division with LSAS Tech. LSAS is a small company that has had a long legacy with commercial space applications. Applications like Systems Toolkit and Orbit Determination Toolkit, which a lot of warfighters may get experience with throughout their training and as they come up through the forces. And also some of our commercial training partners are a strong value add that we bring, connecting the commercial tools that hopefully will be used and utilized not just in the beginning and the training phases, but supporting the warfighters as they go on to their operational assignments and using those tools and solutions.
Okay, I'm from the Air Force as my background, so I don't know a ton about space.
Mm-hmm.
You said orbital what? Toolkit?
Orbital Determination Toolkit. Orbit Determination Toolkit.
What does that even mean?
So processing measurement data so that you can maintain and retain a good knowledge of the custody of those objects, deconflict catalog of which objects are maybe mistagged or maybe they've performed maneuvers that were unanticipated. So constantly having that space domain awareness. Commercial tools provide a great avenue for bringing that capability right to the hands of the warfighters. But I think one of the more important parts of that is training them on how to use it, because not everyone's a rocket scientist, right? So,
Well, clearly not.
So bringing that level of training is something that we've been able to connect with a lot of the other SFA supporters like Integrity ISR and other companies that we partner with in order to get that leading edge capability of technologies, tools, commercial training, engineering services right in front of them, and make sure that they understand the problems at hand without having to go down into the minute details of the engineering sciences and physics behind it.
Okay, very cool. So what I'm hearing you say is kind of the equivalent in the national airspace system of like detect and avoid as well. So, you can measure things and see things moving, but you need to be able to avoid them so there's no collisions.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yep. So a lot of this is a balance between cooperative and non-cooperative
Traffic,
actions,
and
So,
traffic.
Yeah, so imagine the problems that we have even at the FAA level with a crowded airspace.
Yes.
That
Now,
same problem is mirrored, in the space
I
domain.
think, is it worse? Because I understand there's a lot of space junk, and these little chunks of things can be very dangerous, and they
You
travel
can't
very
ask
high
them to
rates of
move out of the
speed.
way either,
You can,
right?
and they,
So,
they
yeah.
can't move, they don't maneuver.
Yeah. So you have to plan and be diligent in that that operational safety of flight aspect. So
Yeah.
we bring that industry knowledge and expertise, but also offer and work with our customers to bring unique solutions to how they might solve those problems.
So as you look ahead to 2025, you're at this conference, you're listening, you're seeing things. What do you think will be the biggest thing in the space domain next year that everybody should be watching for?
Yeah, as I walk around the show floor and I look at the other booths, the one thing that's going to ring true, I think, to everyone this year is just how many smaller commercial space providers there are present at the show. And
So you're gonna see more growth of this?
That's
what you expect?
Yeah, I expect that to almost be double next year. So maybe that's the SFA commitment to double the commercial.
All right, well, they already doubled it in the last year, so we'll see if they can do it again.
Yeah.
All right,
that'd be
awesome.
great.
In the meantime, how can people find you and learn more about what you do?
Sure. Just lsas-tech.com, lsas-tec.com.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Sure,
It was
thank
great
you.
to meet you.
Thank you.
All right, next we got Ryan Sullivan.
Hey.
Ryan is his company is one in the startup area.
Yep, we're over
Okay.
in the launch pad.
The launch pad.
Yep.
All right, and tell them a little bit about yourself and your company.
Absolutely. Well, my name's Ryan Sullivan. I'm one of the co-founders of Space Kinetic. Space Kinetic is an early stage venture-backed startup. We have a top secret facility clearance, and we're focused largely on dynamic space operations. And we think we're getting after that mission area from a pretty novel set of first principles. At our core is this technology we're developing called the Longbow, which is an electromechanical system that integrates onto a number of different host spacecraft and then deploys these smaller assets off that host spacecraft at high velocities without firing a thruster. And we think that unlocks this unique nexus of low signature, low attribution, and highly operationally flexible maneuver through and from the space domain. We think that plugs in, I'm sorry to step on you.
No, I'm just like, I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, what little things do you want to emanate from the vehicle for maneuver? Like other little vehicles, almost like a drone swarm equivalent, but in space?
That's exactly what we're working on.
Okay,
The idea
wow.
being that we can draw down the cost per effect, the cost per spacecraft,
Right.
and get on the right side of the cost curve.
Okay.
If you heard General Wyden earlier today,
And
talked
he is
about,
the space,
uh,
U.S. Space
Spacecom
Commander.
commander.
Yeah, combatant command.
He talked about kind of the nexus of democratization and increased lethality
Yes.
of
Yes.
the threats on
Yeah.
orbit. And we believe that our technology can provide the kind of proliferated and highly capable maneuver that enables us to get after that.
Wow, that's amazing.
I appreciate that. We are building something novel.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we're clear-eyed that when you're building something novel, there's increased front-loaded technical risk.
Yeah.
But we think it's a privilege to focus on that because we see asymmetric upside on the back end
Yeah.
on a number of different axes across space superiority, space domain awareness,
Yeah.
potentially even missile defeat effects.
Well, yeah, look, if you're just using anything that's terrestrial based or even airspace based as opposed to space based as a template, that's happening today on
Absolutely.
the battlefield. So
Absolutely.
like if space is the next frontier, if you will, for where that next battle could occur, and by the way, everybody, I heard 2027, and that's a little frightening to me.
Absolutely.
Like thinking ahead is where we need to be. So thank you for what you're doing. What are you excited about as you walk the floor and hear from other companies and hear from other speakers?
Absolutely. Well, I think to echo some of the previous comments, what I'm really excited about is how much momentum this conference and this ecosystem is building. I think
Yeah.
we've seen the strategic reframing of space as a contested domain, as a warfighting domain, and industry is starting to pick up on that. And I think
Yes.
together we're going to work to deliver the kind of capabilities that protect our country, our homeland, and our allies.
Yes.
Because with this era of resurgent great power competition, we are seeing 2027 as a key date.
Holy schnikes. All right, so tell everybody how they can find you.
Absolutely. Please send me an email at ryansullivan@spacekinetic.com. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. It was great to meet you.
Likewise.
Thanks. All right, next we've got Greg, is it Gillinger? Hard G. Greg, you're a tall guy. All right, I'm going to move over here. You move over that way. There we go, perfect. All right, and it's
Integrity ISR.
Integrity ISR. So we all know what, most of us know what ISR is, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance. So you're doing this from space.
Actually, we're more of a training company.
A training company. All right, tell us about this.
So Integrity ISR is we actually have instructors at Vandenberg, at Keesler, and at Goodfellow.
By the way, my first duty assignment was Vandenberg Air Force Base.
Oh, okay.
Fun
my last
fact.
duty assignment was Vandenberg.
Well, there you go. All right.
Right.
So
we've got 6 instructors there at Vandenberg. We've got 3 folks at Goodfellow, and we have 3 folks at Keesler training 5S enlisted personnel, so the enlisted force of the Space Force. All gets training from Integrity ISR. And then we also offer online courses as well. We've the primary training element for the New Zealand Defence Forces.
the Kiwis.
Yep, so when we started with them, they had 2 folks that had some sort of space training, and now we're up to 160.
Wow, amazing. So like what are they, it's ISR, so are you teaching them like how to read the different maps?
So we start with orbital mechanics and work our way up from there. So it's
or
not just
something
ISR,
a light topic.
Don't let the name fool you.
Orbital mechanics, okay.
Yeah, so we start with orbital mechanics and work our way up through all the different types and uses of space, the different orbits that are out there, the threats that are out there. We have students designing spacecraft by the end of the day, and you go through our Space 200 course, you'll actually be designing space constellations. So
oh my gosh.
Some of the New Zealand students actually have some of their concepts that they worked on in our course are now being considered for funding.
So I want to talk about the threats for a second, because that's something you all have as part of your curriculum.
Yep.
Clearly there's nation states, right? You've got China, you've got Russia. They've been in space for a while. Almost every civilized country at this point has assets in space. What are the other threats out there besides maybe state actors that aren't friendly to us?
So the way I like to look at threats, so in the past when somebody said space threat, they were really talking about a threat to our space asset, right?
Okay.
So what I'm more concerned about is the threat that capabilities on orbit from China and Russia, some of those other countries, are posing to our air, land, and sea forces, which I don't think we have a full grasp of at this point. Right?
Okay.
So that gets into responsible counter space planning and those sorts of things.
Okay, so threat from above, like from way above.
Well, China's tripled their number of Yaogan satellites, so they're ISR satellites that they have in low Earth orbit and now in GEO.
Gathering intelligence.
Yep, and it's all concentrated around the South China Sea and the Taiwan Strait area, right? So they've optimized their orbits for coverage in those areas, and for those of us who have kids now in the military, that's concerning. We start talking about 2027.
No doubt.
Trying to ingress that area when you're always being observed is a hazardous proposition.
Well, that's the great point, actually, right? There's nowhere to hide, if you will.
That's it.
If the eyes are that high up.
It's the job of the Space Force to create those areas to hide. Right?
Yeah, so what we need is the invisible cloaks for everybody, and then, there you have it. I don't think we've made those yet, though.
No.
Well, if we have, we're not talking about them.
So at Integrity ISR, we do I actually kick out a newsletter every couple of weeks called the Integrity Flash, which details all of the latest and greatest that's happening in space from Russia and China.
So how can people sign up for your newsletter and learn more about Integrity ISR?
They can go to integrityflash.com, that's the subscription page, and then integrityisr.com for any of our course materials.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for training all of our enlisted troops and others out there. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much. All right, Jack Smith is with Fortuna. Did I say that right?
You did.
Okay, yay. And he's got really cool plaid going on, which I absolutely love. All right, so tell everybody what your company does.
So Fortuna, we are a service-disabled, veteran-owned IT consulting and staffing company. So we do anything systems integration and government solutions up and down the stack. And what's really kind of cool about us, I am a veteran myself, Air Force veteran.
All right, yay.
And I have a disabled veteran-owned business, and so I wanted to build a pipeline for veterans, reservists, and spouses to connect to the new jobs in the the new space economy, AI, nanotech, and helping them get access to those jobs.
Yeah.
And that's really what's brought us here to the Space Force Association, where I have now just recently become the Western Region VP.
Ooh, you heard it here first, everybody. Western. Look, see, I did it, Jack.
You did it. I'm guilty of it.
I'm moving over. All right, now I'm moving it back. Okay, now I'm going to lock it in. 1, 2, 3. It's not locking. Okay, now it's locked. Come back.
Cool.
All right.
I'm back.
I warned him. I said, every show I'm going to flail my hands and the camera's going to go crazy.
I'm a hand talker. I've got him in my pockets because I don't want to mess it up.
And I messed it up, as always. As always. All right, so IT, we talked about cyber, so many things in space rely on, right?
90% of space services are ground-based, right?
Yeah.
So it's just IT in the background,
Yeah.
networks.
All right,
fighting
awesome.
the bad guys, keeping them out of our systems.
So how do you let the veterans and their spouses know that you're out there to help them get jobs or succeed in this industry?
Well, that's kind of cool. So we're part of a couple of programs. One, the Military Spouse Employment Program, as well as the P3 program with the Army, Career Skills Program with the DoD, which is a really neat program that allows active duty service members the last 3 to 6 months of their service.
Skills Bridge.
SkillBridge is the training program.
Okay.
The Career Skills is the one where you get to lend you to...
an internship.
Exactly like an internship. And it's an unpaid internship. The service member gets all of their time in service, time and grade, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
See, that's why I put my hands in my pocket.
Yep.
So service member timing, they get all of that, but they get training in how to be a civilian.
And maybe a foot in the door.
100%. If nothing else, it's a resume bullet for their next stop.
Yeah.
There's no obligation between service member or employer, but the goal is obviously to make relationships and to kind of build that pathway to their post-military effectiveness. And especially with the Space Force being such a public-private partnership, needing guardians and other service members that have gotten out, getting back involved in the mission. We're building that bridge for them.
That's amazing. That's amazing. All right, so what are you most excited about with regard to 2025? We're almost up at the new year. It's like mid-December already.
So the most exciting thing about 2025, the possibilities. I think the world is waking up. I think they're recognizing that space and these new emerging technologies, AI, all that stuff is here to stay. So you're either going to get busy getting comfortable with it or you're going to get left behind by it.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited to see the world be ready for that. I'm an IT guy. I've been playing with technology since it was early. So I'm really excited for everybody to come play.
All right, well, don't get left behind. Contact this guy, and how can they do that?
They can reach us a couple of different ways. Email is best, jack.smith@fortunabmc.com. That's Fortuna Bravo Mike Charlie.com. Or you can reach us at gofortuna.com. We've got career pages if you need help, services, support, transition, the whole military ecosystem.
All right, thank you so much, Jack.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you for what you're doing for our veterans and for our nation on a continuing basis. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
All right, we've got Dr. Lois Wardell. She is with Galapagos. How do you say this?
Galapagos.
Galapagos.
Yes.
Okay, Galapagos, like the island.
Yeah.
And the turtles.
Exactly.
All right. So I met this amazing lady a couple years ago in Colorado Springs at a space event over the holiday season, so about this time of year. And tell us about what you're doing, not only with SFA, but with your company.
Okay. Well, Galapagos Federal Systems, I get to support the U.S. Space Force, so that's really exciting, and it's been my entry into space. But I'm here with SFA also, launching the Women in Space organization.
Did you hear that, everybody? Women in Space. And I just did it again. All right, keep talking, Lois.
Okay, so so we're launching, so be looking for us in 2025. You can find us on SFA, USSFA.org, and you'll find us on that website, and you can also find me at lois.wardell@ussfa.org, and we're definitely looking for ways to better support women, and appreciate your suggestions.
And I was reading the handout for SFA, and I saw that if you just become a member, you click the button Women in Space, you automatically get registered for that. It's not like an upcharge or an additional fee. It's just a subgroup of the larger group, from my understanding.
That's correct, yeah. So if you're a SFA member, it's free to join us. And we appreciate the support from men, women, from everyone. It takes a whole village to launch.
It does, and I'll tell you what, I've been very impressed. I go to a lot of conferences. There have been a lot of women I've seen in uniform in the Space Force. I don't know what the breakdown is, but there seem to be a lot of women walking around in uniform and also on the commercial side as well.
Yeah, some units within the Space Force are doing amazingly well. I mean, they're like 50% women. So
wow.
It's exciting to see.
Yeah. So I don't know if you could share at all a little bit what you do in your company. I know you do a lot of stuff on the classified side, so obviously we won't get into that. So if you can, tell us a little bit more.
Oh, so yeah, I'm a technical liaison, and so Galapagos often supplies a lot of expertise to their clients, and so I'm part of that mission. Right now, I've been relocated to Maui.
I know we were talking about such a hardship assignment going to Maui. Yeah.
So I get to work some with the telescope there, and so yeah.
Oh, that's super exciting. Very cool.
It's wonderful.
So you've been to a lot of these space events. Tell me what your impression of this one and how it's evolved really just over the past year since its inception.
Yeah, so it's basically squeaky new still since
it
this
is
the second year. And I like it, and because it's not too big. There's a lot of intimacy there where you can really interact with people, get to know people. You're not herded around chasing different sessions constantly.
Yes.
So I really like that, and I think they're keeping that philosophy. So.
No, I love that. Being an outsider somewhat, right? I came in, and you can immediately sense the community, even on the stage, like the military and the civilian folks joking with each other. There's relationships there. It's truly a community. So wonderful. So how can folks maybe learn more about what you're doing with Galapagos, or learn more about the SFA?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So for Galapagos, it's galapagosllc.com that you can learn more about it, and definitely check out our job board if you're interested in working in space.
Yeah.
And for SFA, it's USSFA.org, and we have a we have a web page there, and we'll be updating it real soon. So you'll definitely be seeing a lot more from us in 2025.
Yeah, SFA has a lot going on. Awards ceremonies, this event, educational partnerships. I know with San Diego, I believe, University, specifically about space. And so check out their website to learn more. I also want to give a huge shout out, by the way, I've been remiss not to thank Caresoft, who was the sponsor of this particular stream, and of course you, Lois, and everybody else that joined us today. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And everybody else out there, thank you. Happy holidays. We are out here. This is my last